Welcome to Brave English Podcast.
Your journey from stuttering to standing out.
Welcome back to the Brave English Podcast. I'm Emy, and I am so incredibly happy you're tuning in today. We're about to dive into something that I know deep in my heart is the missing puzzle piece for so many of you.
And I'm Jack. I'm also here mostly to make sure Emy doesn't get too emotional and start crying over a verb tense.
Oh, stop it. I don't cry over tenses. Maybe just a little bit over the present perfect. It's just so sensitive.
See, I told you. Anyway, today we are tackling the big one, the Everest of language learning. We're talking about how to stop being a human calculator and finally start thinking in English.
Exactly, because let's be real, if you're still translating every single word from your native language to English in your head, you aren't speaking, you're doing math. And nobody likes math at a party, Jack.
Truth. It's like trying to run a marathon while carrying a giant dictionary in your backpack. You're gonna get tired, you're gonna be slow, and honestly, you're gonna look a bit ridiculous.
Which brings us to our hook for today. Jack, I think it's time we share the restaurant incident.
Oh no, do we have to? It's been 3 years. I'm still banned from that bistro in my mind.
We have to. It's the perfect example of what happens when your brain is stuck in translation mode. Go on, tell them.
Fine. So, listeners, imagine me, young, confident Jack, trying to impress a group of international friends. We were at this fancy place. I wanted to ask the waiter if the fish was freshly caught. But in my native language, the word for fresh is the same word we use for cool or new.
I can see where this is going.
My brain was doing 200 miles per hour trying to translate. I looked the waiter dead in the eyes, very seriously, and asked, "Excuse me, sir, is this fish recently born?"
Recently born? Jack, you asked for a baby fish.
The waiter just stared at me. He was like, "Sir, it's dead. It's on a plate." My friends lost it. I was so busy translating the concept of freshness that I picked the most terrifying English words possible.
That is the translation trap in a nutshell. You think you're being precise, but because you're translating word for word, you end up sounding like a mad scientist.
Exactly. I was barking up the wrong tree with that translation.
Oh, nice one, Jack. Our first idiom of the day, barking up the wrong tree.
Thank you, thank you. It means you're looking in the wrong place or following the wrong line of thought. My brain was barking at the newborn tree when it should have been at the fresh tree.
But seriously, guys, we've all been there. That moment of silence, that buffering look on your face while your brain tries to find the English equivalent of a specific phrase from your home language. It's exhausting.
It's like your brain is a 1998 computer trying to run a 2026 video game. Whir, click, error.
It really felt like a heavy weight for me for a long time. I remember being in a meeting once and someone asked for my opinion. I knew exactly what I wanted to say in my head, but it was all in my native language. I could feel the weight of the translation. By the time I had the English sentence ready, the conversation had moved on. I felt invisible.
That's the emotional side of it. It's not just about words. It's about feeling like you're behind everyone else.
Precisely. But here's the good news, brave learners. Thinking in English is a skill, not a talent. It's like a muscle. You just have to train it to stop taking the translation detour and start taking the direct flight.
I like that. Direct flight to Englishville. No layovers in translation land.
Exactly. And today, we have a 5-step roadmap to get you there. We're going to show you how to flip that switch in your brain so that English becomes your default setting.
Plus, we've got stories, we've got exercises you can do right now while you're washing dishes or walking the dog, and maybe if Emy is nice to me, I'll tell you about the time I tried to translate an idiom about cold feet.
Oh, we are definitely getting to that.
All right, before we hit step 1, let's do a quick check-in. Stop what you're doing for a second. Look around you. Pick one object. Can you name it in English without saying the word in your language first? If you can, you're already on the path.
Love that. Keep that object in mind. Let's get into step 1, the labeling phase. Step 1 is what I call the internal narrator.
Oh, like the voice in movies that explains what the hero is doing? Jack sat on the sofa, looking incredibly handsome.
Jack sat on the sofa, realizing he forgot to put on matching socks.
Hey, how did you know?
Luck. But really, the internal narrator is about naming your world. Most of us wait until we are talking to someone to use English. That's a mistake. You need to use English when you're alone.
This is huge. I used to do this in the shower. I'd look at the shampoo and think, I am washing my hair. The water is hot. It sounds simple, maybe too simple, but it works.
It works because you're building a direct link between the action and the English word, skipping your native language entirely.
To the audience, think of it like this. If you see a cat, don't think gato, native word, to cat, English word. Think gato to cat.
Exactly. You're cutting out the middleman. Think of your native language like a slow delivery service. You want the prime shipping of thoughts direct to your brain.
Prime shipping of thoughts. I like that. But Emy, we promised a story for step 1. Tell them about your kitchen commentary phase. This one still cracks me up.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so when I decided I was serious about thinking in English, I turned my life into a cooking show. I lived alone at the time, which was lucky because I sounded like a crazy person. I would walk into the kitchen and narrate every single thing I did.
In a deep announcer voice, Emy approaches the fridge. She reaches for the eggs.
Exactly. I'd say, okay, I'm opening the fridge, I'm taking out the butter. Oh, we're out of milk. That's annoying. I need to add milk to my grocery list. I wasn't just naming nouns, I was narrating feelings and intentions.
But did it actually help? Or did you just become a very good imaginary chef?
It helped immensely because 3 weeks later, I was at a cafe with a friend and I accidentally dropped my spoon. Without thinking, I mean truly without translating, I gasped and said, "Oh, I dropped it. I'll go grab another one."
The switch flipped.
It flipped. My friend looked at me like, "Why are you speaking English? We are both from the same country." But in my head, the English narrator had become so strong that it just popped out. I felt like I had won a gold medal in a marathon I'd been running for years.
That's the goal. Practice exercise for step 1. For the next 10 minutes after this podcast ends, I want you to narrate your life. If you're driving, say, "I'm turning left. The light is red. That guy is a terrible driver." Actually, don't say that last part out loud if the window's down.
Good advice, Jack. Keep it polite, guys. Now, let's move to step 2, the word substitution game. This is for when you feel like you don't have enough vocabulary to think entirely in English.
This is where I struggled the most. I used to get so frustrated. I'd try to think in English, but then I'd hit a word I didn't know, like colander or procrastination, and my brain would just shut down. It was like hitting a brick wall.
That's because you were being a perfectionist, Jack, and we know how I feel about perfectionism. It's the enemy of progress.
It really is. I felt like if I couldn't think 100% in English, I shouldn't bother at all. I was cutting off my nose to spite my face.
Oh, idiom number 2, cutting off your nose to spite your face. Explain that one for us, Mr. Perfectionist.
It means you're so angry or frustrated that you do something to help the situation, but you actually end up hurting yourself, like stopping your English practice because you can't find one word. You're the one who loses in the end.
Exactly. So step 2 is about Spanglish or Ang Arabic or whatever your language is. You think in your native language, but you force yourself to keep the English words you do know.
Oh, I have a story for this. Remember when I was trying to fix my car back in college?
Oh, how could I forget? You were covered in oil for a week.
True. Well, I was trying to follow an English YouTube tutorial. My brain was screaming in my native language because I was stressed, but I forced myself to use a mixed thought process. I would think, okay, I need to take the wrench and loosen this bolt, but why is the engine making that noise?
So you didn't try to translate the whole "why is it making that noise" part.
Exactly. I stayed in my comfort zone for the grammar, but I planted English words into my thoughts like seeds. Eventually, the seeds grew. After an hour of sweating over that car, I realized I was thinking, this bolt is stuck. I need more strength. The English words started taking over the native language words until the native language words were pushed out.
That's beautiful. It's like a garden. You don't start with a forest, you start by planting a few trees.
And eventually you have a jungle, a very loud English-speaking jungle.
Practice exercise for step 2. Pick a topic you love. Maybe it's football, makeup, or coding. Try to have a conversation with yourself about it. Use your native language for the connecting words but use English for every topic word you know.
Even if it sounds like a mess, do it. It's about building the habit.
Speaking of habits, I think it's time for a check-in with our brave learners. Guys, are you still with us? Take a deep breath. Thinking in a new language can feel heavy at first, but we're here to lighten the load.
Yeah, don't worry. If I can survive asking a waiter for a recently born fish, you can survive a few mental mistakes.
All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about step 3, which involves something I call the guessing game. And Jack is going to tell us about his most embarrassing cold feet translation.
Oh boy, get ready for some cringing.
And we are back. If you're just joining us, Jack is currently checking his socks to make sure they match, and I'm trying to convince him that recently born fish isn't a new gourmet trend.
Hey, don't knock it until you try it. Actually, do knock it. It was terrible. Anyway, we are moving into step 3, the monologue technique. This is where things get a little dramatic.
Dramatic? You? Never.
Guilty as charged. But step 3 is about taking those labels and sentences and turning them into a full-blown conversation with an imaginary person.
This is so important because in real life, when you talk to someone, you're under pressure. But when you're in your room, you're the boss. You can practice thinking through an argument or a story without the fear of looking silly.
Exactly. It's like a rehearsal for a play where you're the only actor. But Emy, I think it's time. Tell them about the cold feet incident. I know you've been dying to bring it up.
Oh, I have. So, listeners, Jack was once invited to a very fancy English-speaking networking event. He was super nervous. He calls me up and says, Emmy, I'm so scared. I think I have cold legs.
In my defense, in my language, when you're nervous, we say your legs get cold. So I just translated the anatomy.
He told the host of the event, a very serious businessman, "I'm sorry I'm late. I just have very cold legs right now." The guy looked at Jack's pants like he expected to see ice cubes falling out.
He actually asked me if the heating in the building was broken. I was standing there trying to explain that my heart was beating fast, but my mouth was talking about my knees. I was at a loss for words, truly.
At a loss for words. Idiom number 3. It means you're so shocked or embarrassed that you literally can't find anything to say.
And that's why step 3, the monologue, saved me later in life. I started practicing being nervous. I would pace around my room and say out loud, "Okay, Jack, if they ask you about your job, you will say this. If they make a joke, you will laugh and say that."
You were training your brain to find the English path before the pressure was on.
Precisely. Practice exercise for step 3. Pick a fake scenario. Maybe you're winning an Oscar, or maybe you're telling your boss you deserve a raise. Give a 2-minute speech in English to your bathroom mirror.
And if your roommates hear you, just tell them you're practicing for your global superstardom. They'll understand. All right, moving to step 4, surround sound. This one is my favorite because it's about making your brain feel like it has no choice but to use English.
Ah, the no escape strategy. Sounds like a horror movie.
It's a cozy horror movie, Jack. Step 4 is about changing your environment. If your phone, your laptop, and your GPS are all in your native language, your brain stays lazy. It stays in the translation zone.
I remember when I changed my phone settings to English, I spent 10 minutes trying to find the settings menu just to change it back. I was so frustrated.
But that frustration is actually your brain growing. It's like a workout. No pain, no gain, right?
I guess. But let me tell you a story about when this went a bit too far. I changed my GPS to a British English voice because I thought it sounded fancy.
Oh no, I remember this.
I was driving to a job interview, very stressed obviously, and the GPS said, "At the roundabout, take the 3rd exit, mate." I got so confused by the word roundabout because I usually called it a circle in my head that I took the wrong turn and ended up in a construction zone.
Did you tell the construction workers you had cold legs?
No, but I did realize that by forcing myself to listen to English in high-stakes moments, my brain stopped translating the directions and started reacting to them. After a week, roundabout didn't feel like an English word anymore. It just felt like the thing you drive around.
That's the secret. You want the English word to become the object, not a label for the object.
Exactly. I had to get my act together and stop complaining about the GPS.
Get your act together. Idiom number 4. It means to organize yourself or your emotions so you can perform better.
Which is exactly what we're doing for our listeners today. Practice exercise for step 4. Change the language on one app today. Just one. Maybe Instagram or your email. Don't do the GPS if you have a job interview, though. Learn from my mistakes.
Great advice. Guys, we've covered naming your world, mixing your languages, talking to mirrors, and Englishifying your phone.
But we have one more step, the final boss of thinking in English.
And it involves a very strange story about a dream Jack had involving a giant talking taco.
Hey, that taco had very good grammar.
I still can't believe you dreamed in taco. But honestly, Jack, that's actually the perfect bridge to our final point.
It's true.
If your brain can handle a Spanish snack speaking English, you've made it. This brings us to step 5, the deep immersion shift, or the lifestyle flip.
This is where you stop learning English and start living it. Most people treat English like a school subject, something you study for 30 minutes and then put away in a drawer. Step 5 is about making English your companion for your actual interests.
Right. It's about going the extra mile.
Going the extra mile, our 5th and final idiom. It means to do more than what is expected or required to achieve a goal.
Exactly. For me, that meant stop watching learning videos and start watching things I actually enjoyed, like stand-up comedy and tech reviews, even if I didn't understand every word. Emy, you had a deep dive story with this one, right?
Oh yes, I decided that for 1 month I would only consume my guilty pleasures in English. For me, that's interior design and psychological thrillers.
I can picture it now. Emy surrounded by pillows, watching a documentary about how to organize your life while her brain is melting.
It was hard at first. I'd be watching a show about a haunted house, and instead of being scared, I was frustrated because I didn't know the word for attic or basement. But then something magical happened. About 2 weeks in, I was walking through my own house and I thought, I should really declutter this hallway.
Wait, you thought that in English?
Yes, without trying, because I had spent hours listening to English designers talk about clutter and spaces. My brain just adopted those words to describe my own life. I wasn't a student anymore. I was just a person thinking about her hallway who happened to be using English.
That is the holy grail of language learning, when the language becomes the tool for the thought, not the target of the thought.
Beautifully said, Jack. Practice exercise for step 5. Find one thing you love in your native language, a hobby, a YouTuber, a type of podcast, and find the English equivalent. Commit to watching or listening to it for 15 minutes a day. Don't look up every word. Just let the sounds wash over you until they feel like home.
Wow, we've covered a lot today. From naming your shampoo bottles to recently born fish and giant tacos.
It's been a journey, but listeners, if you take away one thing from today, let it be this. Your brain is incredibly powerful. It wants to help you. If you give it the tools and the permission to make mistakes, it will eventually start dreaming in English just like Jack's taco.
Just with fewer spices, hopefully.
Hopefully. We hope these steps help you feel a little more brave in your English journey. Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect, it's to be you, just in a different language.
Before we go, we have our question of the day. What is one thing in your room right now that you can label in English? Tell us in the comments on YouTube or message us on social media.
We can't wait to hear from you. Thank you for letting us be a part of your day. You're doing amazing, and we're so proud of the progress you're making.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave us a review if this helped you. It really helps the show grow.
Stay brave, stay curious, and keep thinking big.
And keep your legs warm.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.